And it's me. It's a Wednesday. I like Wednesdays. It's halfway to the weekend, despite weekends not meaning a great deal at the minute. Kids are back to school next Monday, I guess. So that's a celebration in its own right. I guess we're all looking forward to that. I can stop being the resident IT expert and start being the start calming down the drama that comes home from school on a daily basis, especially as they go see their friends and aren't allowed to get more than 6 foot from them. Craziness prevails. Anyway, there we go. Craziness on this bloody machine. As I said, I wanted to sort out under the windscreen lower seal previously because there's some rust to contend with, but there's also just the condition of the inside of the bulkhead, and it's patchy. Some of it's fine, some of it's not. It's clearly rusty. Some of the adhesive, as I previously said, makes a mess. I've determined that most of that's actually just adhesive mess and the way it's being put on, but it's certainly lifted the coating in some places, and that's created a rust track. Looking into the car on the inside, part of the airbox where the air conditioning pipes go in there is cracked and missing. I noticed one part of it's inside. But when you say every penny doesn't fit the slot, that actually won't fit back in place, and so therefore clearly needs a repair on the box itself. And I want to take all that out. It's tight as you like. I really want to keep the car engine in a position to be running as long as possible, but I feel I'm quickly running into a wall there. So I'm going to need to run it up, drain the oil. Allows me to pull all the radiators at the front, all 5 of them. Including the AC radiator and the main water radiator. No leak issues, just purely access for cleanliness, clean up and painting behind the grille, and make sure that's all in a nice condition. It's difficult to get to. I nearly used a bad word again. I know, I'm sorry about that. But it will give me access. But what I really need access to is this front bulkhead. Now I've pulled out the parts of the air conditioning unit, a lot of big hoses, control valves. And units, and taking off the small bore piping. For that, it was actually quite big spanner size, so I've had to use the Imperial shifters. The metric ones stayed in the box, obviously. Something tells me part of this may have been replaced some point in Europe, actually, because I've got various markups. I think it's been charged recently. With the fact that it's full of dye. Reality was it wasn't full of very much at all. There was a small pressure in it, so I thought it's not unsafe to release that. I did, obviously, with the garage doors open up an atmosphere. But I've pulled these bits out absolutely fine. Find when you take off anything that should be nice and clean inside, or generally has operating fluids in it, stuff it with something clean. Bit of tape over the end, bag over the end, bit of tissue paper, that kind of thing. Perfect to stop foreign objects getting into it and blocking it up in the future. It maintains the service life on your car, and really things should be flushed and clean before they're put back together. But you don't want to be trying to flush out dirt that you could have avoided getting in there in the first place. So I've taken the AC. I've disconnected the AC and taken out a couple of parts, including the filter. I've taken out the bonnet catch mechanism. That's a bit of a pain in the backside. Interesting mechanism, just tight on the far side, on the near side of the car, over on the right hand side there, under the lip of at the top of the bonnet. The easy way to do it is just back off the small nut, and hold it up and get somebody to rotate the far end of this, or reach over the bonnet and do it yourself. But it weighs a bloody ton. It's quite surprising. This whole car has been made very much without weight conservation of any kind in mind. Just the weight of the internal cladding around the engine bay is quite surprising, and with the internal insulation, it's aluminium lined. It fits wonderfully to the profile of the car and kind of holds its shape, but at the same time, kilos and kilos. I'm definitely going to see if there's anything lighter and more weight effective on the market. I don't want to be putting more weight into the car than has to be. It's nearly a 2-ton car, and modern day materials where we can replace stuff like that for modern equivalents. I just think that's the way forward. Probably safer than the old stuff as well, should the worst ever happen. So So that's where we are at the minute. Next thing, I think that I need to drop the engine, drop the oil, is because I need to drop the fuel pump, fuel filter unit on the front of the bulkhead there. I don't want that dangling in the air. And as I've kind of assumed, a lot of you will be thinking about the same things, which is replacing all the fuel hoses. As soon as that comes off, I need to drain the tank. I'm going to have to do that safely. That'll be exciting in its own right. But there's not much in there because I put a gallon in at a time, and for 20 minutes run up, I seem to go through it in a couple of sessions. So it just needs disconnecting, cleaning out. I'll get some fuel hose on order, and I'll replace that all at the same time. And then we're in this wonderful world where at least I don't have to worry about my fuel hoses and seals for the modern day eco methanol, ethanol based fluids with the whole bio side in. I worked on a plant for that once. Fantastic concept, crap for old engines. There we go.